Hey everyone, welcome back. We are getting started with our videos for the year. We've kind of slacked off, had some awesome snow, had to play in it, stuff like that. So I am finally getting started with my first video. It's kind of a little bit of an old video. I'm trying to get caught up on some of the footage that I've got, and I will have new content coming as well. But these are just videos that I feel like are useful for the sledding community as a whole, and so I really just wanted to get them out there. So we're going to go ahead and get started. This is going to be a video on the Deviant Ink Wrap install. So I've done videos in the past on getting your wrap all designed and everything on their website, but now I want to do a video on the actual install itself. So this is going to kind of have some tips and tricks on what the do's and don'ts are for installing a wrap. And I apologize if it's a little bit jumbled up because it has been a little while since I got this footage. And again, like I said, I just wanted to get it out there for you so that you have it, so that it's useful for you, and mainly just so that the footage doesn't go to waste and I just delete it. So figured I may as well just throw it all together. So if you have any comments or questions, feel free to hit me up and I will try to answer those best that I can. And hopefully this video turns out good and is helpful for you. Thanks. Alright, so here we're going to start taking off these graphics from the stock machine and get it kind of ready for a wrap. And so to begin that, it's best if you get a heat gun or some sort of a blow dryer. This is just a cheap drill master from a Harbor Freight. A blow dryer will work well for you for this type of an application, but you want to get that or have something similar to that to be able to install the wrap as well. So we're going to go ahead and start. We've got these different decals right here, and you want it to be room temperature to begin with, the machine. That makes it a lot easier. If it's too cold and you just start peeling away, then it's going to take and just tear these really thin decals that are on this sled. So taking the heat gun, getting it kind of warmed up to begin with. Doesn't have to be on high. Just kind of turn it on low. Just kind of get some heat started on there. Start working a corner edge, and these, I don't know if it's just because they don't want you to take these off, but these ones can kind of be a pain in the butt, these warning labels. But if you just hold the heat gun about 18 inches away, I've got it on low right now, and just kind of slowly work it back and forth. You'll know when you're getting it too hot because the decal will start to stretch a lot. If it's too cold, then it'll just start tearing. So hold it away a little bit. I'm leaving a little bit of residue on there, but that's not a big deal, especially if you have some sort of adhesive remover. So as you can see, this one's actually coming off really, really nice, and almost got it. That's all there is to it. We're going to go ahead and pull this tank wrap off now. Just find you a nice corner. You don't want to do an inside corner as much, just a nice sharp corner. These tank ones typically come off really easily just because they're not 100% smooth surface. You can see this one's coming off really nice. Hold that heat gun about 18 inches away again. You just want the heat to kind of just touch your fingers a little bit. You don't want it to burn them. If you're burning your fingers, you're definitely way too hot. If you feel it starting to get really soft, the decal, just pull that heat gun away a little bit. Go ahead and point it back on there when you're ready, when you feel like you've got it cooled off a little. It doesn't take much to cool it off. And just kind of keep working it. Sometimes, especially if the decal's been on for quite a while and you have some of like these little scrape marks here, that makes it kind of a pain in the butt because the decal will tend to rip on those. And so then you just gotta start and stop your edges quite frequently. Can be kind of annoying more than anything. I mean, you can see that I just keep tearing right here. My decal is plenty warm, it's soft. It's just, this is kind of an older decal. So just kind of just work it slowly. It'll end up coming off. All right, guys, you've got your stickers and your decals removed from your machine. What's the next step? I'll tell you, the next step is going to be to ensure that these plastics, as well as your tunnel, if you're doing a tunnel wrap, is completely clean of any dust, any adhesive, as well as any oil residue. So in order to do that, I strongly and highly recommend getting some sort of an adhesive remover. I like to use this Goo Gone. It works really well. It's not harmful to the plastics, but the downside is to it that it is going to leave behind an oil residue. So keeping that oil residue in mind, the other thing that you're going to want to make sure that you get is, I've got this spray bottle. It's just an old spray bottle, but I've got soapy water in it. Soapy water is going to clean that oil residue off, as well as clean off any of the dust and anything else that's left behind the adhesive remover leaves. So the other thing you're going to want to gather up is a couple of rags. The first rag is going to be to remove that adhesive remover off of the plastics. And I like to use a microfiber one just because it's not harmful to the plastics either. It doesn't scratch them up, especially if you have to kind of work that adhesive remover in there with it. So microfiber works really well for that. The other thing is going to be to get a rag that is really good at absorbing water. So you're going to want to take and spray down the adhesive remover with, or after the adhesive remover is off of there, you're going to want to spray the plastics down with some soapy water to remove that oil residue, any dust that's left behind. Make sure it's a rag that doesn't leave behind a lot of fibers either, or that comes apart when it gets wet. So the other things before you go and install your wrap is you're going to want this machine to be warm, the plastics as well as the tunnel if you're doing that. You're going to want them at least room temperature. The reason for that is so that you can actually, so that the wrap will stick really well. Preparation is key. I highly recommend taking your time on this. If you do take your time, you're going to do a good job and it's going to last a lot longer. So keep those things in mind. We're going to install this wrap. Okay, so here I am about to install this Deviant Ink Wrap, and I'm just looking over the instructions. I've done wraps in the past before, but Deviant Ink is awesome with this little print layout that they've got. I've got my wrap all rolled up right here, you can see. But they have this install guide, and it kind of covers everything that you would need to know so that you're not afraid of installing this wrap yourself. And basically, this install guide is awesome for beginners. So here you can see you have this print layout. This is how the actual wrap is printed on from their printer. So if I take and turn this just like this, you can see that this number 5 and number 1, number 5 is right here, and because mine is going to be a little bit different. It doesn't have its number. It wasn't number 1, it was number 7, but it's going to be a little bit different because I've got the Skins helium hood, and that's, as you can see, number 7 right here. That's basically your hood right there in the screen right now. So number 7's not going to be on there on mine because I've got the Skins helium hood, and that's what that piece is. But everything else kind of coincides, that you can tell what everything is. And then if you follow this number 2, this whole green section coincides with it right here, which is going to be your right-hand side panel. So really awesome job that they've done. Really easy, self-explanatory. You can figure it out. Don't be afraid of this wrap. Deviant Ink has done an excellent job with this. So. Okay, so I've got my piece cut here. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm going to go ahead and peel this main big decal off. And as I do, I'm just going to take and stick this on the back. So all it's doing is just taking so it doesn't stick this side down. So then I'm going to go ahead and kind of line things up a little bit. You can kind of work it, kind of stretch it, get it to kind of follow the body. Follow the body lines nice and straight. It doesn't sit on there perfect because it's kind of got a little bit of a curve to it, but as you kind of stretch it and kind of form it a little bit, you can see that I'm a little bit higher right up here. So kind of peel it off. The nice thing about this Deviant Ink decals is that they are really pretty forgiving. They aren't gonna stretch when you kind of pull on them and stuff, so you can pull them off multiple times. I don't recommend doing it multiple times, but you can pull it off multiple times if you have to. So got just a little bit of an air bubble in here that I'm trying to get worked out of there. You want to get it to lay nice and flat on here. So you can see how I kind of rippled that right there. I kind of bent it a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit, so that I can follow this top edge right here too. You want to work from the middle, work it out, get everything pushed out right here. And as you can see, it begins to sit nice and flat. And it'll just kind of form to your panel if you work it like that. Got another little air bubble. So the nice thing about doing it the way that that Deviant Ink recommends that you do it is that you aren't gonna pull it off multiple times. So I have my wrap and my side panel nice and warm, but I don't have it overly warm. So if it's overly warm, then it isn't gonna sit how it's supposed to. It's gonna end up causing you grief. And as you pull on it, it's gonna be so tacky that it's just not gonna come off very good. So as you can see there, this piece is going on nicely. Try to kind of work from the middle out, and as well as from one side to the other also. So you can see I'm kind of going like this. I'm working back and forth. I'm working from the middle out and to the outside edge. So I'm putting the decal on more as I go, and then I come and I switch to this other side and just kind of work it down. Now that I'm down to here, I can go ahead and pull this piece off, this little protector, and just discard that. You don't want this to go on too much before you're ready. And just work it down. Work those little ripples out. There we go. That piece is already installed, so now it's going to go ahead and set a basis for everything else. All right, everybody, so that basically completes the wrap install video. I didn't get quite as good a footage in certain areas as what I would have liked of how the install actually turned out, and that sled is sold now, so I don't have it to reference back to, but I hope that it helped you out. Like, subscribe, comment, and feel free to watch for the new videos that are going to be coming out, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.